Hey, what's up? This is Joe. This video is going to take you on a journey from Florida back to my home state of Virginia, searching for a vehicle along the way that I can live out of temporarily while I rehab my shoulder, and subsequently turning it into a roadworthy camping machine. All right, so I'm back in the car in Ormond Beach, just leaving destination Daytona. Just wrapped up Bike Week 2026. My shoulder's definitely feeling a lot better, but it's still not quite to the point that I really trust it on a motorcycle with quick stops without becoming dislocated. So still off a bike and got some physical therapy lined up back home for a bit. In the meantime, I'm looking at a couple of sort of potential van life type of vehicles that I could live out of while I'm kind of doing this physical therapy, because I absolutely got to get back into the woods, you know, and just being mobile. And I think I found a pretty sweet deal on something around Charlotte or Charleston, South Carolina. So I'm going to stop and take a look at that along the way, and maybe a couple other vehicles. Well, this is one nice thing about being in a car. Not being able to live off my bike hadn't exactly been an easy pill to swallow, and I wasn't very enthusiastic about having to switch to a four-wheeler. The way I saw it, this was the only option for the time being. I needed to maintain my Vagabond lifestyle by any means necessary, and also take care of my shoulder until I could get back on a bike full-time. After researching several different vehicles, the one that really caught my eye was the Honda Element. From the outside, it looked like a normal sport utility, but once you took the seats out, the cargo area was enormous. What's more, the one in Charleston had all-wheel drive, which would take me pretty much anywhere I had the balls to go. Hurry back to the free state of Florida. Having visited the free state of Florida twice a year for the last 7 years, it kind of feels like a second home, and actually so does South Dakota, because I'm always there for Sturgis and usually hang out for about a couple of months. All right, well, this is Buc-ee's, the home of a million gas pumps, and still a car at just about every one of them. It's not my first choice, but the gas is pretty cheap, and they do have some really good food. The reason why I don't like it is because there's really nowhere to sit down. So if I'm on a motorcycle, I usually end up sitting on the curb outside the place, which is kind of not the most comfortable option, especially if it's hot. Another thing I don't really like about it is that they don't allow trucks. Typically, I think there's a certain kinship between bikers and truckers, and it's kind of not fair to them. So, well, there it is. It's like a freaking supermarket, man. It is cool to check out every once in a while. There's the Buc-ee Beaver. And part of the attraction also is you got this like obscene selection of beef jerky. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get one of those pecan bars. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna do one of Joe's famous food reviews. I got some beaver chips, fresh cut potato chips, with a 3-meat sandwich with sausage, brisket, and turkey. Basically, when I'm in the US, most of the time I eat super clean. One exception to that rule happens to be right after finishing up a rally, and then all bets are off. But this thing is absolutely gigantic. All right, this guy right here, holy moly. Look at that, man. That thing is loaded. Cheers. That turkey's really nice. That old sandwich just totally fell apart in my lap. It's a good idea in theory. In practice, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm gonna try these beaver chips. This is a little overkill food-wise. Oh man, this really needs some hot sauce or vinegar. It's kind of plain as is, but delicious. Got one of those pecan bars. There we go, look at that pecan bar. Oh yeah. Buc-ee's kind of very southern, kind of oriented. It started in Texas and is now sweeping the nation. All right, a little bit of pecan bar. Cheers. Absolutely delicious. This kind of tastes like pecan pie with the really thick crust with cinnamon in the crust. I'm afraid if I finish that, I'll become a diabetic. I'll probably stay in a campground tonight just because I'm filthy from all that tear down and stuff. I'm kind of craving the convenience of like a shower. That's one thing. Obviously, this car is not really made for sleeping. The problem with it is the seats don't fold down flat, and so you got an angle kind of like that. This place unfortunately is totally closed. Stony Creek, place I was gonna stay. It says call Bill at that number if you need assistance. I called Bill and he confirmed no vacancies. So yeah, there's really not a lot of like campgrounds and stuff like that in this area, and the ones that there are like $35, $37 a night. You know, there's like a state park around here that I looked at. So I might just break down and get a hotel, because I looked at the price of hotels around here and it's like $41 a night. I've been sleeping in the truck bunk for the last 2 weeks. So this might be one of those rare nights that I treat myself to a hotel, just simply because camping at this point is pretty inconvenient. I'm exhausted. It's been a long 2 weeks, plus doing teardown and driving for another 6 hours. Morning. In retrospect, I really needed a hotel. Like I said, this is the cheapest hotel I've seen in a long time in the US, $41. And it's actually pretty decent. I mean, the floor is good. I don't know why it's only got 2 stars. I guess a lot of people probably haven't stayed in some of the absolute shitholes that I have. So to me, this is the lap of luxury. But yeah, just needed a rest and a shower. Slept in a little bit today. Got about another 2 hours to Charleston, and then wait for this guy to get off work and go take a look at the car. Fingers crossed this ends up being a pretty good deal. North Charleston, South Carolina. I still got a couple hours before I'm supposed to meet that guy, so just out here in the Walmart parking lot. I'm hungry, so I think I'm gonna sit down and cook myself a steak. Around 3 p.m., I met up with the seller in the grocery store parking lot. Doing my best impression of a brick wall, I examined the car thoroughly and took it for a test drive, never letting on just how much I was interested. I made a ridiculously low offer, half expecting him to just drive off. To my utter amazement, he accepted for just $100 more than my initial offer. You're looking at the proud new owner of a 2006 Honda Element SUV. The thing was a little rougher than I expected in some ways. I'm definitely going to have some bugs to work out of it. There does seem to be an exhaust leak, which is noticeable under acceleration. It gets kind of loud. The guy put a set of aftermarket wheels on it that are kind of too big for those wheel wells. Some of the plastic interior bodywork has come in contact with the wheels and rubbed a couple of pretty big sized chunks out of it. Sounds like I should be able to get the car back up to Virginia and try to get it squared away there, and hopefully without spending too much money on it. right, there she is, a 2006 Honda Element EX with what they call real-time four-wheel drive, which is really all-wheel drive. Got 152,000 miles on it. So a couple of issues. Basically, it's been in some sort of a front-end collision, but the title was still clean. You can see kind of right here where that's damaged, and right there where it made contact, and now this whole piece is sort of not really in there right. I'm gonna look at that and see if I can repair it myself somehow. I'd rather get that sort of nice and tight. It's got some wheels that are too big for this car, man, and the guy was kind of warning me about it, where it sort of ate into the plastic of the inner wheel well, and it's even worse on the other side. Also a little crack in the windshield wiper reservoir. It doesn't seem to leak, but I think I can get some JB Weld or something like that to sort of fix that. The car initially came from the state of Idaho, which is a little bit of a red flag. I'm not sure if they sought the roads up there, but you know, it's a place that gets a lot of snowfall. You know, as a result, this caliper is pretty rusty, but the brakes work fine. Here's the other side of that inner wheel well, where it sort of just totally ate away. The tires are pretty good. I like the wheels, even though they're too big for the car. Yeah, I mean, it's a 20-year-old car, so you're gonna get some stuff, you know. But that's why I didn't pay that much for it. This is broken off for the hood latch, but I found that I could just kind of reach in there and grab it like that. Open this up. And that's it. That's a 4-cylinder, 2.4 liter VTEC engine, K-Series, that are said to be dead nuts reliable, man. After that collision, the radiator was replaced. I did check the coolant before I left, and it was down about a quart, but it seems to be holding now, and might have been down just from normal evaporation. I don't know. Sometimes when people do radiator repairs and stuff like that, they don't really take the time to sort of burp the system and get all the air out of it. It seems to be good. There's a little bit of corrosion on the engine, just the finish like that, I guess. Again, it's coming from Idaho, but the engine itself pulls really well. Hopefully that's a good battery with some life left. There's the transmission dipstick in there. I might go ahead and do a flush unless I can see that it's been done recently. The guy did have some of the service records. My stepdad took me down to South Carolina to pick this up, and it drove fine for the first couple hundred miles, and then on the way back we were ascending this really steep mountain pass through Fancy Gap, and the check engine light came on. I took it to an auto parts store and had them pull the code, and it's engine knock sensor, and apparently they've got a tendency of going out on these around 150, 200,000 miles, so I'm pretty much right in that range. But I started the car this morning and the check engine light was off. It sounds like probably that sensor is going, but it's not completely gone yet. Or it could be one of the connectors to the sensors. I just need to get in there and figure out where it is and take a look at it. Looks like kind of a pain in the ass to get to. It's behind the intake manifold, but some guys are getting in there under the car and sort of like reaching up and being able to access it that way with like a flex head ratchet. Anyway, it's like a $130 part. I'm hoping this is good enough to get my Virginia State inspection, man. There's definitely an exhaust leak coming from somewhere that I'm gonna have to get under there and look at. And I also got a couple of little dings and chips on the windshield, which I hope that will pass inspection. You know, I mean, that's less than the size of a dime. I got a little one down here, so I'm hoping they'll overlook that. You almost don't even notice it. There's a bunch of little dents on the top of the roof. It may have been in a hailstorm out west at some point, but really not even that noticeable. Silver's a pretty good color for camouflaging, stuff like that. I'll show you back here. One of the issues with this is these hydraulic arms that open the rear hatch get to a certain point and then stop. So it's like they're not pressurized enough. So I might look into taking that apart and see if I can fiddle with them and hopefully get them working right, because I've almost hit my head a couple of times and I'm pretty short, but when it's just open that much, you know, just like walking right into it, Okay, so you open the top hatch, and then that opens up. You got your spare tire under here. All right, now I'm gonna get under here and kind of show you what's going on underneath. All right, so as you can see, there's definitely some rust on this frame. This was the first thing I looked at on this car, was just because it's coming from Idaho. I sort of went under here and kind of tapped, like that's not good, but it's still solid. You got some pieces kind of flaking off. The real thing that I was freaked out about are these rear trailing arm mounts over here. These things have a tendency of, on this car, just like wearing out. So that's moderate rust, but at this point it doesn't feel structural, and a bunch of stuff just flaked off of there, which I'm not crazy about, but it does feel solid. All right, so now that we've seen all the bad, or most of the bad, I hope, aspects of this car, let me show you some cool things about it. So this is kind of like the ultimate camping vehicle, man, because it is actually pretty big on the inside. I think the doors are really cool, the way that this opens like that. But one of the coolest things about it, man, are these passenger seats, which come out in a very interesting way. Basically, you sort of, okay, that's for to lay it down all the way flat like that. Pull that yellow tab, and that comes up. And you sort of take this carabiner and hook it onto there. Because now at that point you got a pretty big area kind of in between. I don't need these passenger seats, even though it's an awesome feature. So I'm just going to take them out, which is easy enough, I believe. Looked like, okay, that piece comes off. Now this comes off. All right. And that's it. She's out of there. That's pretty amazing, actually. And there you can see, you just got really a pretty enormous kind of a cargo area inside of this thing. It's pretty remarkable, actually, for a little SUV like this. One of the other really cool things about it are these windows that'll sort of prop open like that for camping. And I think there's a couple of companies that even make like a mesh type of a deal that goes over it, so it's almost like sleeping in a tent, and very well ventilated. The moon roof is really cool because I can sort of put my head right there and be looking up at the stars. Just kind of prop that open, and again, they make some kind of a mesh that kind of goes around that opening. I might put that cover back on over this, but again, I mean, it's like I could use this to hook onto. A couple places right here to hook stuff where the seats were. So I mean, this is really kind of a cool utilitarian type of a deal. For me to be happy in life, I got to have my own space and I got to have my own wheels, and this kind of covers both of those. Hopefully this will be just sort of a temporary thing while I'm doing my physical therapy and sort of slowly getting back on the bike and taking some shorter rides, which become longer rides, and just kind of kicking in the woods on this and do my physical therapy a couple of times a week. Anyway, I got it, and now I have to deal with it. And now that I had the car, the next thing I did was attempt to get back on my motorcycle. Not being able to ride had left a massive hole in my life, and even though I was far from ready to do any long distances, it sure felt good to be riding again. You know, interestingly enough, having not been on this bike for basically 4 months, getting back on it is just like I never stepped off of it, you know, I guess from so much time, just day in and day out, absolutely zero adjustment period whatsoever. So my shoulder's definitely feeling better. It's good enough that I can handle short, easy rides without a lot of bumps and stuff like that. So my hope is that if this good trend continues with my shoulder and the physical therapy helps, that I'll be back on a bike full time. The next order of business would be getting the Element into ship shape so I could live out of it. So as you can see, I'm just kind of going through and cleaning this out. Not that it was super dirty, but simply because it's a new vehicle, and doing this kind of puts me more hands-on, and I kind of familiarize myself with all the ins and outs of the vehicle. Gotta love that, a rusty screw right next to the spare tire. Probably a good thing I'm doing this. That's your little basic scissor jack right there. So yeah, like what I was saying, you sort of, through the process of kind of just sweeping and going over every inch of the car and cleaning everything, you kind of notice stuff that you might not have noticed otherwise. These little storage cubbies are going to definitely come in handy. My intention, after I sort of sanitize this floor and get everything nice and spick and span, is I'm going to throw a rug down right there, and then I got this really cool chair thing that folds out into a bed, which I'll show you later, and then it kind of folds back into a chair and takes up less space, at least horizontally. They do make like a roof carrier. There's some of my mom's barn quilts that she's been making. She's really proud of those. Anyway, they're pretty cool. I like the one with the crow. Frankly, I prefer being on a motorcycle, and I'd be doing that right now if I could, but I'm just trying to make the best of this situation. But one of the cool things about this car is the dash. It's bare bones, so you got an analog speedo and everything else, just a stereo. All the interior looks pretty new, but this is all plastic. So easy to clean, and you got all these little storage areas right there that just are gonna really come in handy for camping, man. I mean, just little things like that. And there's a big storage right there for sunglasses and whatever else you want to put in there. It's pretty big, actually. I'm trying to think what I can put in there that's not gonna be too heavy. All right, I got some hot soapy water with a little bit of bleach in here. Just gonna kind of sanitize the whole thing since I'm gonna be sleeping on it. Staph infection is a thing. I've had them before, and they're not fun. So I try to keep my camping area clean. Almost like you'd have it like a jiu-jitsu gym or something, you know? It's bleachy. That's why I'm not wearing a black shirt. All right, one of the things that's been driving me absolutely nuts about this car is the fact that this piece is worn out, so it doesn't hold the door open unless I'm parked on a downhill like this, and keeps hitting me in the ass, basically. Hopefully I can get to these bolts right here without doing too much. There we go. Yeah, this is the aftermarket. I forget what it was, 15, 17 bucks or something like that. All right, so another thing that's been driving me absolutely up a freaking wall are these hydraulic rear liftgate openers. It's like they just don't have any gas, man. So I got a replacement set of those for, again, like 15 bucks for a pair, actually. So I'm about to take these off and do something about that, because I've hit my head twice on this already, and it's starting to get really annoying. There's definitely an easier way to do this if I'd planned it out a little better, but I need something to prop this open, and I don't have anything that's gonna work. So I just put some lube on the end of that. All right, so apparently what I didn't know is that you can take a screwdriver and pop this clip off, and then that pulls right off of there. I didn't know that, so I unbolted it So this time I'm just gonna really wish I could prop this thing up. Really need 3 hands. There we go. All right, a little bit of grease. Never hurt anybody. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh, that's much better. Now, you gotta watch not to hit yourself in the chin now. Oh man, at least I won't be hitting my head. All right, now I'm walking up here to get my car. Failed inspection, as predicted. I got some bulbs out, and there was that exhaust leak. I went ahead and had them do the exhaust leak, frankly, because I was having some trouble finding the part, and it's just easier. They're getting under there. They already got it up there, but they wanted like 150 bucks to change a couple of light bulbs, which is ridiculous. I'm gonna go up here and replace these lights and hopefully get a valid Virginia inspection sticker on there. But got quite a bit of snow yesterday, so it's a good thing I got all-wheel drive. Man, it is bitter cold out here. Luckily, I got the car back, and had a little trouble with the license plate bulbs. One of them wasn't working, so I had to kind of like wiggle it around, and I don't know, maybe the connection's not good, but they passed it, so it's good for the time being. So now I can start working on some kind of a bed type of a situation in here. I'd like the back to be more like a living room. All right, that's kind of cool. I mean, it could be a little wider, a little longer, obviously, but I think that'll probably do her. All right, and then this is the sort of chair thing that folds out into a bed, which is actually pretty cool. And I think this will be a good way to sort of maximize space. I've seen a lot of people do kind of a platform bed in these. I like to sleep kind of down low, almost closer to the ground or something, and be able to sit up in it. You know, I do meditation every day, and so I need something I can sit up in and not worry about hitting my head. And I'll show you how it unfolds. They pull the Velcro off the side, kind of like that. All right, and now she's a bed, and with the seat moved forward, this should be just enough room to close that tailgate. And basically I got 4 of these like 12-gallon storage totes, which are going to kind of rest right beside it and kind of double as sort of a storage area slash kind of a table. This is almost a no money build, really. I mean, only the price of these containers and that bed, which was like 90 bucks. It's not perfect. I still need to replace that knock sensor and get under the frame and treat the rust, do a couple other things. I'd like to change all the fluids, but I mean, for now I could sit here working on it until the end of time, and wouldn't really be doing what I got it for, which is living out of it in the woods. I got to get the hell out of here. I've been in a house for too damn long. When I first got the Element, I thought I'd made a huge mistake. If it had been up to me, I'd be living my usual life off a motorcycle, camped out in the woods somewhere. This vehicle represented at the very least a major change in the way I was going to have to go about doing things. It wasn't until I hit the road and ventured deep into the woods that I realized I had found what is quite possibly the greatest camping vehicle ever made. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as usual, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box for anybody that might like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road.